Have you ever noticed how the moment you finally set a big goal, something strange happens inside you? A part of you feels excited, powerful, ready, and another part feels heavy, uneasy, almost resistant. It is like you asked your future to show up, and your past answered instead. You write the goal down, start the plan, tell yourself, this time is different, but then a quiet tension appears. You want it, yet you feel oddly uncomfortable wanting it. You catch yourself hesitating, overthinking, delaying the first step, not because you are lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because something inside you feels divided. This is the psychology of people who feel conflicted after setting goals. Not unmotivated, not broken, just emotionally split. Because every goal is not just a promise to move forward, it is also a threat to who you have been. And the mind does not change without a conversation. Let us decode what is really happening. Point 1. Your brain reads goals as identity threats. When you set a serious goal, your mind does not hear ambition. It hears disruption, a new habit, a new standard, a new version of you. And your brain is wired to protect familiarity, not happiness, not growth. Familiarity. This is called status quo bias, the tendency to prefer what is known, even when what is known hurts. So when you say, I will change my life, your nervous system quietly replies, we survived like this. That is why excitement and discomfort arrive together. One part of you sees possibility, another part sees risk, not danger in the physical sense, but danger to your identity. If you have been the quiet one, a goal to be visible feels unsafe. If you have been the one who plays small, a big dream feels like betrayal. If you learn to survive by staying unnoticed, growth feels like exposure. So the conflict is not about the goal. It is about who you are allowed to become. You are not fighting motivation. You are negotiating identity. Every time you feel inner resistance, it is not weakness. It is your mind asking, who will I be if this works? Point 2. Goals awaken old emotional memory. Your mind does not experience goals in the present. It links them to the past. Every promise you ever broke. Every time you tried and failed. Every moment you felt embarrassed for wanting more. Those memories live in your emotional system, not as stories, as sensations. So when you set a goal, your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. The tight chest, the sudden fatigue, the urge to scroll, the need to escape. That is not procrastination. That is emotional recall. Psychology calls this conditioned emotional response. Your nervous system learned that effort can lead to pain, so ambition becomes paired with vulnerability. You are not afraid of the goal. You are afraid of reopening an old wound. Maybe you once believed in yourself and were let down. Maybe you were told you were unrealistic. Maybe you failed publicly. Maybe you were praised once and then ignored. Your brain stored that experience as protection. So now, when you set a goal, part of you whispers, do not hope too loudly. Not because you do not want it, but because you remember how it felt to want before. The conflict is grief in disguise. You are mourning the version of you that tried and did not get to arrive. Point 3. Goals expose the gap between who you are and who you could be. This gap creates a unique kind of discomfort. Psychology calls it cognitive dissonance. The tension between your current reality and your desired identity. You imagine a future self, confident, disciplined, aligned. Then you look at today, the messy room, the unfinished work, the habits you promised to break. That contrast can feel inspiring, or it can feel shaming. For many people, it feels like standing in front of a mirror that shows not who you are, but who you are not yet. So the mind tries to soften the discomfort. It says, maybe later. It says, maybe this is not realistic. It says, maybe I do not need this. Not because the goal is wrong, but because the gap feels emotionally loud. You are not afraid of the work. You are afraid of confronting the difference. Goals make self-awareness unavoidable. They force you to notice where you are. And for people who learn to survive by not looking too closely, this awareness feels like pressure. So the conflict becomes a push and pull. I want this. I do not want to feel this. And the mind would rather reduce discomfort than reach potential. That is not failure. That is human design. Point 4. Some goals clash with emotional loyalty. This is the quietest conflict of all. Sometimes your goal is not just about you. It is about what your growth represents. If you grew up in a home where dreaming was dangerous, success feels disloyal. If the people around you struggled, thriving feels like leaving. If your identity was built around being the one who adapts, not the one who leads, change feels like abandonment. This is called emotional allegiance. We often stay aligned with the emotional rules of our past, even when they no longer serve us. So your goal is not just a goal. It is a break from an old contract. You are not only becoming more, you are becoming different. And difference can feel like separation. So part of you moves forward, and part of you looks back. Not because you do not deserve more, but because you learn to belong by staying the same. This is why people sometimes sabotage progress right after making it. Not out of fear of failure, but fear of distance. Who will I be if I outgrow this version of myself? Who will I lose? Who will I no longer fit with? The conflict is not about ambition. It is about belonging. Point 5. Some people confuse safety with stagnation. If your nervous system grew up in unpredictability, calm can feel unfamiliar. Progress can feel like standing on a thin edge. So when a goal begins to take shape, your body reacts. Not with excitement, with alertness. Your heart beats faster. Your mind searches for problems. Your attention moves toward escape. This is not drama. It is biology. Your nervous system learned that change equals risk. So stability in motion feels unsafe. That is why you can crave growth and resist it at the same time. One part of you wants expansion. Another part wants control, and control feels like safety. So the conflict appears as hesitation. You open the document, close it, reopen it, walk away, not because you do not care, but because your body is trying to keep you in known territory. You are not lazy. You are regulated for survival, not for vision. So what do you do with this inner division? You stop treating it as a flaw. You stop asking, what is wrong with me? And start asking, what is this part trying to protect? Every conflicted feeling after setting a goal is information. It tells you where your identity is tight, where your past is still active, where your nervous system needs reassurance. Growth is not about forcing forward. It is about bringing the whole system with you. Instead of saying, I must be disciplined, say, I am allowed to become someone new. Instead of saying, I am failing again, say, my mind is learning a new pattern. Instead of saying, I am scared, say, something old is loosening. Because you are not broken for feeling torn. You are aware. And awareness is the beginning of change. Most people think motivation is a switch, on or off. But real change is a conversation between who you have been and who you are becoming. The conflict is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that the goal matters. If a goal does not shake you, it is not big enough to transform you. So the next time you feel that strange heaviness after setting a goal, pause. Do not run. Do not shame yourself. Do not quit. Just notice. Something inside you is rearranging. You are not standing still. You're standing between versions of yourself. And that is one of the bravest places a human can be. You do not need to silence the part that is scared. You need to walk with it. Say, I know this feels new. I know this feels risky, but we are safe here. Because growth does not require violence against yourself. It requires trust. And trust is built slowly. One honest step. One gentle decision. One moment of choosing the future without punishing the past. If this felt like it described you, you are not alone. Subscribe for more psychology that understands the inner world, not just the outer behavior. Because growth is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming honest and letting the future feel possible without erasing where you came from.